in here. Is this our stream? Nope, that's the guitar concert. So we can shut that one down. And live stream. Here we are. I'm in the right one now. Hi, Margot. Hi, Carolyn P. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Robody Bob. Margot K. Earthbound Spirit. Oh, I'm in top chat. Why am I in top chat? Live chat. Okay. Earthbound Spirit. I got that. Tammy. Sean Sneed. Kelly Sweetheart. I have to call you Kelly Sweetheart. I'm sure you don't mind. Hi, Captain Lee. Hi, Tracy Thomas. Hi, Liz Tops. Hi, Blue West. Okay, so hi, Jeannie's talking about life. Let me just tell Jimmy something like that. Jimmy?
Yeah.
Jeannie's talking about life. You know, she paid, so you can let her stuff go out tomorrow or so.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Alias. How are you? So after this, we'll be doing the Peterson thing again. Hi, Christina Ferrari. How are you? But today they found out that for sure 100% the remains at the landfill were those of Quinton Simon, and I'll read you the official thing. Hello, Linda. Okay. Let me go over here. And I also, we'll talk about Idaho in a minute. I always get ahead of myself with my all my stuff while I'm waiting. Who plays this one? Okay, so let me pull this up. FBI Atlanta. This is from the FBI Atlanta. The FBI Laboratory Division has confirmed through DNA analysis the bones found in the Superior landfill are those of missing 20-month-old Quinton Simon. Chatham County authorities have charged Simon's mother, Leilani Simon, with murder and other related offenses. On Monday, November 28th, authorities officially ceased operations at the landfill and began removing command post facilities from El Scottsdale Park. The FBI is thankful for the partnership with Chief Jeff Hadley and the entire Chatham County Police Department. A monumental team effort was put forth by everyone involved in bringing closure to this horrific situation. The 5-week search to find Quinton would not have been successful without the dedicated service of several groups. The FBI and Chatham County PD would like to offer their sincere thanks to the following. The management and workers at Waste Management Superior Landfill. The situation was thrust upon them, and the waste management team was extremely cooperative and offered their equipment, time, and expertise throughout the search. The forensic anthropologists from Georgia Southern University who were on site every day verifying any potential human finds. The experts from Team Adam and National Center for Missing and Exploited Children who provided invaluable technical insights. The agents, officers, and deputies from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, who all devoted their time to participate in the landfill search. Quinton Simon's case and the legal proceedings against his mother are now in the hands of the Chatham County District Attorney's Office. Any further questions should be directed to the District Attorney, Shalina Cook Jones. Okay. Say that. Let me just go back to where we are here. My watch is pinging, 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 pinging. And before we go any further, I think there's an immediate request for help with a missing teen here, so we're going to put her face out there. So, Las Vegas police are searching for a teenage girl who has not been seen since Saturday morning. 16-year-old Nami Armendariz was last seen 8:30 a.m. close to Snow Mountain residential area in the Las Vegas, Paiute Reservation near northbound US 95 and Kyle Canyon. Police say Nomi could be emotionally distressed and in need of medical help. Nomi is described as 5'2", weighing 140 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. Anyone with information should call the Las Vegas Paiute Police Department 702-471-0844. Hopefully she's found. Let's see now. So the cause of death for Quinton Simon has not been disclosed. Police say they do not expect additional arrests in the case. Authorities believe Quinton's body was dumped in a dumpster and transported to the landfill. That's how it got there. And that is all the updates right now on that. Now we're going to go to something else. Before we go, we're going to go to here's something really bizarre. Okay. Three people found dead inside a burning California home on Friday were killed by a Virginia man who catfished a teenager that was living in the home and kidnapped her after he killed her family. The Riverside Police Department identified the suspect who was killed hours later in a shootout with police as 28-year-old Austin Lee Edwards, who formerly worked in law enforcement at the Virginia State Police and the Washington County Sheriff's Office in Virginia. Police did not reveal the capacity in which he worked there. 2 women and a man were found dead, with clear evidence that they did not die in the fire that was set after firefighters extinguished it. In a press release, the Riverside Police identified the victims as 69-year-old Mark Winnick, his 65-year-old wife, Sherry Winnick, and their daughter, 38-year-old Brooke Winnick. Police were initially called to the neighborhood to report a girl who appeared distressed getting out of a vehicle with a man. Minutes later, came calls in regarding an apparent house fire a few doors down from the call about the girl. The investigation soon uncovered that the girl was the teenage daughter of Brooke Winnick, the 38-year-old daughter. Okay, so obviously this guy traveled from Virginia and killed the grandparents of the girl, the mother of the girl, and kidnapped the girl. And she lived at the house where the bodies were found. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies later spotted Edwards' car and pursued it. They lost sight of the vehicle at one point, but he crashed the vehicle a few blocks from where deputies had lost sight of him. When the deputies approached, Edwards opened fire and the deputies returned fire. He was killed by gunfire from one of the deputies. A woman said to have been found safe and taken to the hospital for treatment of injuries she suffered during the crash was the teen girl, who has not been identified. The girl was later placed into the custody of the Riverside County Department of Public Social Services. So now that girl has no grandparents and no mother, because this guy catfished her from Virginia. Detectives said that Edwards met the girl online through the common form of online deception known as catfishing, where someone pretends to be a different person than they actually are. And after getting the girl's personal information, he drove from Virginia to California. He parked in the driveway a few doors down from where the girl lived, and when he was later seen putting her into his car. And then he walked to the Winnick's home, and at some point he killed the girl's grandparents and mother before heading back to his car with the teen girl. Our hearts go out to the Winnick family and their loved ones during this time of tremendous grief, as this is a tragedy for all Riversiders, said Riverside Police Chief Larry Gonzalez. This is yet another horrific reminder of the predators existing online who prey on our children. If you've already had a conversation with your kids on how to be safe online and on social media, have it again. If not, start it now to better protect them. That's absolutely horrific. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, I thought I heard... I just don't want to miss something. Okay. All right, let me go back to the story. So, yeah, that is something. Oh. I just want to check something on that story about Brooke Winnick. I want to just see one thing here. The teen's mother. Okay, so on Facebook, someone named Eric Winnick said this: "My family suffered an unimaginable tragedy this week that senselessly claimed the lives of my godfather, Uncle Mark, my Aunt Shari, and my cousin Brooke. There are so many questions and so few answers. My Uncle Mark was an avid Notre Dame Packer and Angels fan. He never faulted me despite wearing Dodger blue in the spring and attending the university of a hated rival. He gave the best hugs that always made me feel like everything was right. My Aunt Shari was the most tirelessly selfless person. Very few rivaled her devotion to her family and her level of altruism. My cousin Brooke and I frequently mixed like oil and water when we were younger, but we were always excited to see one another at Nanny and Pom-Pom's house. She was a loving mother and a caring aunt. Several burdens have been forced upon my cousin, Shelley Winnick Blandon, and her husband, Benjamin Blandon, not the least of which is planning services to honor these three beautiful souls. If there is anything you can spare to help ease the financial strain, it would be greatly appreciated." Let me see something. Someone else said, "These are my cousins, Mark, Sherry, and Brooke. All were killed this past Friday in their home. It's a triple homicide. The perpetrator then set their house on fire in an attempt to hide the murders. The scumbag was a cop who tricked Brooke's oldest daughter." So now she says oldest daughter, so the teenager has other siblings. It's a good thing they weren't home in the house. "It drove from Virginia to their home and killed them and took her with him. Please pray for my cousin, Shelley Winnick Blandon, who has lost her dad, mom, and only sibling." So she is the only surviving daughter. So she lost her parents and her sister, and Brooke's daughter lost her mother and grandparents. She is now faced with handling all three funeral arrangements, caring for her two nieces who have lost, so there's two girls now, who have lost their mom and grandparents, and also all of their belongings. If you're able to donate or want a cause to donate, there's a GoFundMe set up. If anything, say a prayer for them. Let's see. Horrifying story. Apparently, this is a picture of the suspect. Let me see here. Is this correct? Yes. So this is the picture of the guy that did that. The guy that did that, right? And over here it says that 28-year-old Austin Lee Edwards is a North Chesterfield resident and a former trooper with the Virginia State Police. Officials say Edwards catfished a California teenager. He then traveled to her house on Friday where he murdered her grandparents and her mom. Then officers found the home on fire, 3 victims lying dead inside. The teenage girl was unharmed and was later placed into protective custody of the Riverside County Department of Public and Social Services. Virginia State Police confirms that Edward graduated from the academy on January 21st, 2022 as a trooper. He was assigned to Henrico County and he resigned October 28th, 2022. Wow. Let's see here. Is there anything else? This is a crazy case, huh? I wonder how long he pursued her online. Let's see. Local media in California described the murders as brutal, with the victims bound. Edwards fired on SWAT vehicles and a helicopter. It is believed an officer shot from the helicopter and neutralized Edwards. Witnesses described the subject wearing a trench coat when he left the murder scene. It's also believed the female victim was dressed in similar trench coat. Local sources have indicated Edwards frequently wore a trench coat. So here's what happened on Friday. On Friday, November 25th, at about 1:15 p.m., deputies from the Morongo Basin Station and Sheriff's Aviation Unit observed a red Kia Soul traveling on Highway 247. The vehicle matched the description of the wanted vehicle in relation to the triple homicide in the city of Riverside. The driver of the vehicle, Austin Edwards, was also wanted in connection to the homicides, and he was believed to be armed and dangerous. Both Sheriff's Aviation and California Highway Patrol Aviation followed the vehicle from a distance until Sheriff's Specialized Enforcement Division, SWAT, could catch up. The vehicle traveled south on Highway 247 and then east on Highway 662 and ultimately to Kelso-Sema Road. As SWAT intercepted Edwards' vehicle, Edwards fled and led deputies on a pursuit. And during that pursuit, Edwards fired at the deputies. The volley of gunfire struck the SWAT vehicle numerous times. Edwards lost control of his vehicle, and the pursuit ended when he drove off the road. The female victim exited the vehicle and was rescued by deputies. Edwards exited the vehicle and pointed a gun at a sheriff's helicopter, and deputies fired upon Edwards. Upon contact, Edwards was unresponsive and pronounced deceased at the scene. Detectives from the Sheriff's Specialized Investigations Division responded to the scene and assumed the investigation. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is investigating the attempted murder of the deputies and the lethal force encounter. The Riverside Police Department is investigating the triple homicide, and any questions regarding the homicide should be directed to them. An autopsy will be conducted to determine the manner and cause of death. Due to other details not being released, there may be additional victims. This is still an active investigation that's being handled by the state and federal authorities. If you have any information regarding the subject, please do not hesitate to contact authorities immediately. Okay, and then it said this happened at approximately 11:08 a.m. on Friday, November 25th. The Riverside police officers were dispatched to check the welfare of a young female who appeared distressed while getting into a red Kia Soul. With a man alone, the 11 200 block of Price Court located in La Sierra South neighborhood of Riverside. While officers were responding, our Public Safety Communications Center began receiving calls of a structure fire just a few houses away from where the Check the Welfare call originated. The Riverside Fire Department arrived first and reported a working fire on the first floor of the residence. They initiated a fire attack, made entry, and then discovered 3 adult victims laying on the ground in the front entryway. Their bodies were pulled outside, where it was determined that they were victims of an apparent homicide. Firefighters continued their efforts until the fire was placed under control and eventually extinguished. Detectives with the Robbery Homicide Unit, along with specialists from the Forensics Unit, responded and assumed the investigation. They have been assisted by the Riverside County Sheriff's Coroner's Office and the Riverside County District Attorney's Office and arson investigators with the Riverside Fire Department. Again, the victims have been identified as 69-year-old Mark Winnick, his 65-year-old wife, Sherry Winnick, their daughter, 38-year-old Brooke Winnick. The exact cause and manner of their deaths are still pending. The cause of the house fire appears to be under investigation, although it appears at this point to have been intentionally ignited. During the preliminary investigation, it was determined that the young female that's described in the initial check, the welfare call, was a teenager who lived at the house where the fire and the murders occurred. The man she was with was identified as 28-year-old Austin Lee Edwards of North Chesterfield, Virginia. Information was relayed to allied law enforcement agencies regarding this triple homicide and Edwards' vehicle description, while detectives sought warrants for his arrest and attempted to determine his current whereabouts. Several hours later, he was discovered driving with the teen through San Bernardino County, where he was located by San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department in the unincorporated area of Kelso. Edwards fired gunshots at deputies, and a deputy-involved shooting occurred where he was subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. The teen was unharmed. Again, she's in the custody of the Riverside County Department of Public Social Services. And then again, he catfished her. Okay. Let's see. And here's something else, a press release. It says, at the time of his application for employment, this is the man you see on the screen, with the Washington County, Virginia Sheriff's Office, Austin Lee Edwards was employed with the Virginia State Police as a trooper, having previously completed the Virginia State Police Academy in January of 2022. Past employers and the Virginia State Police were contacted during the hiring process. However, no employers disclosed any troubles, reprimands, or internal investigations that pertain to Edwards. Edwards was hired with this agency on November 16, 2022, and had recently begun orientation to be assigned to the Patrol Division. So he was just hired with the Sheriff's Office, Washington County, on November 16th. To be assigned to the Patrol Division. It is shocking and sad to the entire law enforcement community that such an evil and wicked person could infiltrate law enforcement while concealing his true identity as a computer predator and murderer. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Winnick family, their friends, officers, and all of those affected by this heinous crime. And that was said by the Washington County Sheriff Blake Andis. The agency is currently assisting the Riverside Police Department in California with this investigation. So really wacky, huh? That is something. They don't deserve this. Man catfish teen girl. So what had this the day after Thanksgiving? See what happened here. We had a grandmother, grandfather, and mother of this teen murdered by the suspect who traveled from across the country for most likely the sexual exploitation of this teenager, said Riverside Police Department Officer Ryan Railsback. What happened here in terms of the catfishing, as they call it, the common practice of, online deception where you're pretending to be someone else. Later that day, police said Edwards was found driving with the teen through San Bernardino County. Okay, we heard that part of it. And then, let's see. During a vigil on Saturday, neighbors said the Winnick family was always neighborly and went out of their way to help the community. The victim's family was in attendance but did not wish to speak with the media. Some said they are devastated. I just want everyone to know how loving they were. They don't deserve this. I'm not eating. I'm not sleeping. It just hit me very hard, said Bonnie Davis, who said she has lived next door to the Winnicks for 2 decades. They were just the type of people that you would just never wake up to think that you would hear this of them. A woman who wished to be identified only as Joy organized Saturday's vigil and said that she was new to the Riverside neighborhood before hearing the news. When I heard that news, I just dropped to my stomach like, what do you mean they didn't make it? She recalls Mark Winnick stepping up to help when he learned she was a single mom. According to a GoFundMe set up for the family, he coached young athletes at Arlington High School. He said right away, I'm going to mow your lawn. I'm going to help you out when you're not here. Though the family of the victims did not speak to the news directly, they did issue a public statement to those who attended the vigil saying, thank you for being here and honoring my family and respecting our privacy at this time. The family said they may release another statement. The investigation remains ongoing. Anyone should call Detective Josh Ontco 951-353-7135. Very sad. Crazy. Crazy. Okay, that's that case. And we'll save that for the end. Okay, so let's go to this one. A 16-year-old Pennsylvania boy has been charged with murder after he allegedly confessed during an Instagram video chat to a friend. The Ben Salem Police Department said it received a call on Friday afternoon from a woman who said Joshua Cooper had engaged her daughter in a video chat, telling her that he just killed someone. Joshua Cooper reportedly flipped the video and showed the girl the legs and feet of someone who was covered in blood and then asked for help disposing of the body. Officers went to Cooper's home in the Top of the Ridge trailer park, and they saw a teenage boy run out of the back of the trailer. And inside the trailer, they found a deceased girl on the bathroom floor with an apparent gunshot wound. Investigators said there was evidence that someone had taken substantial steps to clean up the crime scene. Other officers launched a search for the suspect and took him into custody a short time later. The victim's age and identity have not been released. Cooper has been charged as an adult with the criminal homicide, possessing implements of crime, and tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. Cooper was ordered held without bail and is scheduled to return to court on December 7th. Unbelievable. Okay. Skip this. There's so much that's occurred in the last few days. So this is a Texas man who pled guilty earlier this month to a single count of wire fraud after prosecutors caught him in a fraud scheme in which he scammed about 50 victims, individuals and companies. He scammed them for about an estimated $1.5 million in cash and goods and services in 2020 and 2021. Nicholas Bryant, who's now 26, told police he was the son of a wealthy oil and gas investor and invented jobs for himself at fictitious companies. And that's according to the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas. Bryant gamed accounting software to make it appear he was paying vendors. He was taking advantage of a delay from software packages like QuickBooks in informing a vendor of a canceled payment, and then he'd ghost the companies that he stiffed. In this manner, he obtained more than a dozen private jet flights, a half-day sail on a 90-foot yacht, numerous high-end hotel rooms, extravagant steak and champagne dinners, and 5 luxury vehicles worth more than $500,000, prosecutors said. He also racked up a bill for substantial materials and labor on a $980,000 home and pool. While he says he regrets it, perhaps hoping for leniency when he's sentenced, he spent a lot of words bragging about how much fun he had in text messages and a phone call, where he said, "I took private jets and I stayed at the most expensive Airbnbs and hotels. I went deep sea fishing and I toured everything that was possible. I bought and drove 5 different high-end cars. By far, my most favorite trip was to Turks and Caicos. I spent 2 weeks on the island. From fishing to sailing yachts, I stayed in a $30,000 a night house. It was amazing, amazing." He also ripped off individuals. He told people that, yes, he was the son of rich oil parents, but he'd been cut off and needed cash. "I knew how to play the part," he said, and he laughed. And he spoke to the Daily Beast about this. He even hired a childhood friend to work with him at GPS International, which was a real company, but with Bryant making excuses about why he wasn't being paid, Hayden Eggemeyer eventually called the company and found out that neither he nor Bryant worked there. "I still don't get why he would do that. We were friends," Eggemeyer told the Daily Beast. "If he wasn't a scumbag, he could have been very successful. He was so convincing." The activities of Bryant's were so outrageous that U.S. Attorney Chad E. Meacham compared him to the fake heiress Anna Sorokin. Trying to be humble, Bryant told the Daily Beast that he thought it was crazy to compare him to well-known swindlers who now have a movie and a Netflix show. And then added his story probably had them both beat. "My story might be more wild than theirs, I can almost guarantee it," he said. A date for his sentencing has not been set. Okay. Florida man has been charged with attempted murder after deputies found a woman on Tuesday with a hatchet buried in her head. Lisa Rogers Eaton's injuries are so severe that her family has come to Florida to say their goodbyes and support her husband's decision to have her taken off of life support. And this is what it said in a post. Our family has been struck by a devastating tragedy. Our baby sister, Lisa Rogers Eaton, was brutally attacked in her home in St. Petersburg, Florida. I have attached the newspaper article. My siblings and myself are in Florida to say our final goodbyes to her, as the doctors have said she has no brain waves and will have no quality of life. So we will support our brother-in-law in turning off her life support and allow her to join our parents in heaven with our parents, grandparents, great-parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. We have established a PayPal account to help the cost of her funeral expenses. Anything that you can give would be greatly appreciated. And let's see here, they said, Pinellas County deputies were called to Eaton's St. Petersburg home at 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday. The 56-year-old woman was taken to the hospital. Deputies say that the suspect, identified as 40-year-old Michael Dougherty, fled before they arrived. He was later located near Gainesville and arrested in Alachua County deputies during a traffic stop at around 3 a.m. on Thursday. Eaton's sister, Donna Voy, said that Eaton and her husband have allowed Dougherty to stay with them after he lost his job. We don't understand it. We can't understand it because she wouldn't hurt anybody. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office says it's still investigating. Dougherty remained jailed in Alachua County on Saturday afternoon, according to those jail records. Wow, that's really sad. Okay, so we have so many sick people in this world. Don't we have so many sick people in this world? It's crazy. Just crazy. Okay. So the man accused of murdering a teenaged East Harlem Burger King cashier during a $100 robbery. So $100 robbery, and he kills. So I mean, it's just whined that he was the one being victimized, comparing himself to Nelson Mandela and Jesus Christ. During an exclusive jailhouse video visit from Rikers Island, Winston Glynn, who ranted about slave reparations and screamed that America will burn, insisted he was innocent of the heinous January 9th murder that kicked off a year of violence and lawlessness across New York City. The cashier, Crystal Bayron Nieves, who's 19, she had been working her fast food job for only 3 weeks. She had taken the fast food gig to help her mother pay bills to save for nursing school, but she was scared about working the overnight shifts. It was 12:45 when Glynn barged into the East 116th Street restaurant off of Lexington Avenue wearing a black ski mask. This is the person he murdered. He pistol whipped the store's 59-year-old manager before bashing another person over the head. And then he turned to Bayron Nieves. He demanded cash from a register, and after she handed him roughly $100 and told him the second register was empty, he shot her in the chest. Police busted Glynn at a Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn address where they found clothes that the killer had allegedly wore the night of the attack in nearby dumpsters. Law enforcement said it recovered a phone he had stolen from the restaurant manager and tossed into a subway tunnel, and tracked the assailant via security footage to a nearby bodega where he conducted an electronic transaction an hour before the fatal stick-up. He was charged with first-degree murder, among other charges. And this is what he said. What happened to Nelson Mandela? What happened to Jesus? They were innocent. And he said this while he was in court wearing a tan jumpsuit and staring with unflinching eyes. I want to be a leader and all that. A lot of people are jealous, you know. During an hour-long interview, Glynn rubbed his hands on his face as he tried to downplay the damning evidence. He questioned why he would use a traceable payment just before the crime and why it took a witness days to identify him, and only after the news had blasted footage of the robbery. Somebody probably made a call to a tip line, and I used to work there, that's all. He was fuming, and when he was referring to the 8-month period in 2020 that he was employed at that Burger King. There's only one way this can go. They let me go, and I sue the city for holding me so long. After being arrested outside the 25th Precinct Station House in East Harlem, he ranted that America is going to burn, and where are our reparations for the 100 years of effing slavery? During his arraignment, he screamed liar several times at a judge. During this week's televisit, Glenn seethed that the system has no regard for the lower class, like we are nobody. He also made bizarre allusions to Freemasons and the Illuminati before claiming that the families of the wealthy and powerful actually benefit from citywide crime and mayhem. Your grandma is a judge. Your grandfather is one of the morgue. So if you kill somebody, he makes money with the body. The daughter is a doctor. So if that person doesn't die, they treat him. He meandered. These people don't want crime to stop as long as it's not affecting them. Glenn has a rap sheet, has at least 4 previous arrests, including arrests for menacing with a weapon in November of 2021, criminal possession of a weapon in December 2020, where he pled not guilty to the death of this young woman, Bayron Nieves, and he's held without bail. A former roommate of Glenn's at a homeless shelter in Queens said that the alleged killer had a lot of issues. He saw a lot of demons and stuff like that. He noted that Glenn had smoked crack, was definitely on medication, but then said he was a pretty stand-up guy. Glenn said he had recently been evaluated by a forensic psychiatrist, and his lawyers have suggested that they might pursue a psychiatric defense. Family and friends, hold on 1 second, said that Crystal, hold on 1 second, I just lost my thing. Family and friends said that Crystal was a genuine soul who moved to the Big Apple from Puerto Rico 6 years ago to live with her mother and her brother. On Saturday, Crystal's mother, Christy Nieves, said with tears streaming down her face that her daughter was a happy girl and that the pair spent all of their time together. I woke up this morning thinking about her, she said, rubbing the white sheets of the perfectly made bed in her daughter's room. I come in here all of the time. She doesn't believe Glenn's claims of innocence. He killed her. There is so much evidence against him, she said. For us, her family, it's difficult to remember that day and to see his face. The problem is the whole city and all of the violence, she added, shaking her head. I want justice for my daughter. So, Okay. Let me go to the next story. Okay, what do we got here? This is a crazy story. We're going to go into this a little deeper too. Connecticut man was arrested last week for leaving his newborn son on top of a stranger's car in March. It was reported that troopers responded to a location in Maysfield after a baby was discovered wrapped in a towel and on top of a woman's car hood. A subsequent investigation linked George Grados, 41, to the infant via DNA and cell phone data, which placed him in the area. The woman who found the baby said she called 911 after hearing whimpering coming from the towel. Life-saving measures were used on the baby, who reportedly appeared purple and covered in bodily fluid. Medical staff determined that the baby, a boy, was born premature and weighed 2 pounds, and that the baby had been born 24 to 48 hours before he was found. The woman who contacted the police was bird watching at the time. She claimed she saw a man, later identified as Grados, carrying a wrapped towel toward her car while yelling, "I'm sorry." Grados allegedly told police that he had sexual relations with an undocumented citizen in Hartford. He claimed that the girl had the baby at some point and came to his home in Willimantic, Connecticut with an armed man. The girl allegedly told Grados that she was not a legal citizen and she could not keep the baby due to where she lived. The armed man then told Grados that he would kill Grados' family if he alerted authorities. Grados reportedly told police that he did not leave the newborn at a firehouse because he saw surveillance cameras and people outside and he was scared off. He said he also considered bringing his son to the hospital, but he decided to leave him on top of a car on a rural road. "I wanted to know how the baby was, but I was scared to call anyone about this, even my therapist. It was so embarrassing," he told police. Grados allegedly also said he called troopers, but he hung up before speaking with anyone. It's unclear whether authorities have located the baby's mother. Grados is charged with intentional cruelty to persons and risk of injury to a child. Though he was initially held on $100,000 bond, he was later released from custody on his own recognizance. Grados has 2 pending criminal cases. In July of 2021, he was charged in Willimantic with risk of injury to a child, third-degree strangulation and suffocation, and disorderly conduct. In April of this year, he was charged with various sexual assault offenses and risks of injury to a child in connection with a January 2012 incident. In regard to those cases, he was released on a $200,000 bond for those charges, and he is due in court on January 9th. Now, look into this just a little bit further here. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay. Let's go back. So according to investigators, the woman said she found the 2-pound baby boy wrapped in a towel on the hood of her car. As she approached the male and tried to ask him questions, "What are you doing?" and she didn't know what was happening, he fled the area in a dark-colored SUV. They were able to call 911, wrap up that infant, get the infant warm, and the infant was transported to an area hospital. State police and staff at the hospital determined him to be 28 to 30-week-old, premature newborn. The boy is listed in stable condition. That's good about that, huh? Wait a second. Okay, hold on a minute. All right. Thought I was late for my next engagement. I'm not. People along that Pleasant Valley Road were surprised to see police in an ambulance, but were thankful the baby was in stable condition. So that was good. I don't know. This seems really bizarre. Let's go on to the next thing because we have to keep it moving here. So this is a very old case of kidnapping by a babysitter. A woman who was kidnapped in Texas as an infant has been reunited with her family after 51 years. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children said earlier this year that a tipster said they saw Melissa Highsmith in the Daniel Island area of South Carolina. Interesting. Ultimately, the tip didn't pan out the way the family had hoped, but it did give them hope to continue searching. Highsmith was later found living in Fort Worth, Texas. Highsmith's family then submitted DNA testing to 23andMe. On Sunday, the family announced that DNA testing revealed a match. Highsmith and her family have since been taking the time to get to know each other. Our finding Melissa was purely because of DNA, not because of any police or FBI involvement. podcast involvement, or even our family's own private investigations or speculation, said Hyland's sister, Sharon Highsmith. In 1971, Highsmith was abducted in Texas after someone who claimed to be her babysitter answered an ad placed by Highsmith's mother, who was searching for a sitter. Hyland's mother was a single mother at the time and working at a restaurant as a waitress. Police say a female answered the mother's ad and initially agreed to meet up at a restaurant but failed to show up. Then a month later, the same woman contacted Highsmith's mother and pleaded for the job, adding that she had a big yard and experience taking care of children. Highsmith's mother ended up hiring the woman. The woman later picked Highsmith up from her mother's roommate while the mother was working. The roommate reportedly said the woman was dressed nicely and wearing white gloves. After taking Highsmith, the woman never returned. It is overwhelming, but at the same time, it's the most wonderful feeling in the world, Highsmith said, while her birth mother, Alta Apentense, said she thought she would never see her daughter again. Highsmith's birth father, Jeffrey Highsmith, added that after 51 years, it's so emotional. That was the best day that I ever had my whole life when I saw Melissa again. As far as the person who raised Highsmith, there was reportedly confirmation of the kidnapping after Highsmith confronted her. The person that raised me, I asked her, "Is there anything you need to tell me?" And it was confirmed that she knew that I was baby Melissa, so that just made it real. Highsmith said that she has felt an outpouring of love from her biological family and plans on changing her name back to Melissa. My heart right now is just full and bursting with just so much emotion. I'm just really, really happy. Information regarding her kidnapper has not yet been released. It's crazy. I wonder what her relationship was like with her mother there. So there's Tennessee police, and they're asking for the public to be on the lookout for a 22-year-old Chattanooga woman who hasn't been seen in days. Jasmine Pace, last seen around 11:27 p.m. on November 22nd near Tremont Street in Chattanooga. Her mother, Katrina Pace, said that her daughter's vehicle was found abandoned at Mountain Creek Road at 8:27 p.m. on Wednesday near the Signal View condos. Anyone with information on Jasmine's whereabouts is urged to contact the Chattanooga Police at Crime Stoppers Hotline 423-698-2525. There's another picture. Hopefully she's found. Where was I? Okay, a non-jury trial started today. In this case, a non-jury trial set to begin in Florida for a man accused of killing a couple in their garage and chewing on the victim's face. Austin Haroof, now 25, has waived his right to a jury trial, leaving it to his circuit judge, Sherwood Bauer, to decide if he was insane when he killed 59-year-old John Stevens and his wife, 53-year-old Michelle Mishcon Stevens, and seriously injured a neighbor who tried to intervene. The suspect has pled not guilty by reason of insanity to the charges that were levied against him in the August 2016 attack. I knew this. This is a long time ago. This is the bath salts one that had garnered national attention for its brutality and gruesomeness. Remember the guy? He was on bath salts and he was eating the couple's face. Unbelievable. Let's see, that's 6 years ago. So, well, that was crazy. And the then 19-year-old former Florida State University student was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder with a weapon, attempted first-degree murder with a weapon, and burglary of a dwelling with an assault or battery while armed. Prosecutors decided in 2017 not to seek the death penalty. 2 mental health experts, including one hired by the prosecution, concluded that Haruf experienced an acute psychotic episode when he left a dinner he was having with his father and 45 minutes later attacked the Stevensons. When police arrived on the scene, he was eating chunks of John Stevens' face. Several officers and a police dog subdued him after considerable effort, including the use of a stun gun. Friends and family members said that Haruf has behaved strangely for weeks before the attack, and his parents had set him up an appointment with a mental health practitioner. On the night of the incident, he was having dinner with his father and his father's girlfriend when he abruptly left the dinner and went to his mother's house. Then he poured cooking oil into a bowl of Parmesan cheese and ate it. His mother took him back to the restaurant. Concerned with his behavior, he told her he had superpowers and that there were demons in her house. She called 911, telling a dispatcher that he seemed delusional. And back at the restaurant, his father grabbed his shoulders and shook him, demanding, "What's wrong with you?" Austin raised his fist, but the father's girlfriend stopped him, and the 19-year-old left again. 45 minutes later, 4 miles away, he attacked the Stevensons. Investigators later learned that Austin had purchased hallucinogenic mushrooms, but his friends told them that he destroyed them, and no trace was found in his blood. His Google searches included queries about how to know if you're insane. His trial has been delayed for years for multiple reasons, among them legal wrangling, lengthy recovery from a drinking chemical in the Stevensons' garage, and the pandemic. If Bauer founds Austin was insane at the time of the attack, he'll be sentenced to a mental health facility. If he rejects the insanity defense and finds him guilty, he'll be sent to prison for life. Okay, now there's, we have one. Let me just make sure what we have going on here, because we have to do the Idaho murders, which I know we have that one, and I'll just make sure that we're covering everything. I don't want to be called about clickbaiting. Okay, so we've done Quinton, we've done the Kidnapping, we've done that one, We've got to do Mexico, and we have to do Idaho. Okay. All right, so let's go to what's going on with the woman that was killed in Mexico, right? All right. Shanquella Robinson arrived in San Jose del Cabo on October 28th with 6 of her friends. 1 day later, the 25-year-old student at Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina died while staying in a luxury rental property in Baja California Sur. Now, nearly 1 month after the death, the FBI is investigating, and Mexican prosecutors are seeking to extradite one of Robinson's friends as a suspect in the case. Now, Robinson last spoke with her mother the day before her death. She traveled to Mexico on vacation with her college friends from Winston-Salem State University. She last spoke to her mother on the phone of the morning of October 28th. Exactly 1 month later, her Salamandra Robinson recalled her final conversation with her daughter in an interview that she did with CNN. And she said, when I spoke with her, she seemed to be pretty happy. She was laughing. She seemed very happy on that trip, and there was no indication of any trouble. I said, okay, enjoy yourself, love you, I will talk to you tomorrow, and I never spoke with her again. Her daughter was found dead in the living room of the vacation rental the following day. And the autopsy deepens the mystery of how she died. The cause of her death was severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is the instability or excessive movement in the uppermost neck vertebrae, according to a copy of her death certificate. The death certificate classified Robinson's death as accidental or violent, noting that the approximate time between injury and death was 15 minutes. Then there was this viral video that showed Robinson being beaten. A video was circulating online in the recent weeks, appears to show a physical altercation inside a room between Robinson and another person. It's not clear when the video was taken or if it depicts the moment she suffered the fatal injury. It is Robinson seen in the video being thrown to the floor and beaten on the head. Her father confirmed that. Mexican prosecutors said last week an arrest warrant had been issued there for a woman suspected of fatally assaulting Robinson. Robinson's mother says she has not been told who the suspect is. I haven't heard a thing. I was last told they have not located them yet, the suspect that they're looking for. The prosecutors said they were working on extradition proceedings with the Mexico's Attorney General and the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Evidence showed that the death resulted from a direct attack, not an accident, and it involved a female friend of the victim. Mexican authorities have said the death occurred in San Jose del Cabo. The FBI said it occurred in nearby Cabo San Lucas, and the agency has not answered the media's request for comment. The suspect has not been publicly identified. Mexican officials have not named the suspect because she's a U.S. citizen who is believed to be in the U.S. No one has been charged in the case. Authorities have not released the names of her friends. The FBI Charlotte Field Office says it has opened an investigation into Robinson's death. And the Mexican prosecutor says the extradition process is underway, saying that the death did not result from a quarrel, but from a direct aggression that the person made. The Attorney General for Baja California Sur, Daniel de la Rosa, said that the extradition process for the suspect was underway. There is already an arrest warrant for the crime of femicide or the killing of a woman because of her gender, said De La Rosa, adding a friend of the victim was allegedly responsible for her death. The arrest warrant is valid in Mexico, prosecutors said, and they are in consultation with the federal government officials in both countries regarding the extradition request. We are already carrying out the relevant procedures, both the Interpol file and the extradition request. The suspect could be prosecuted in the U.S. or Mexico. They both have a long-standing extradition treaty and a history of cooperation on such matters. Robinson's family, meanwhile, awaits more information from authorities and their daughter's friends. You took my only jewel from me, her father, Bernard Robinson, said. You put a big hole in my heart. The only thing I can do is fight for her. I cannot let her die in vain. And then we go to the... Okay, the University of Idaho students who were stabbed to death Police reported that tips and 911 calls continue to pour in, but a suspect still has not been identified. The Moscow Police Department said Sunday they had received 78 calls for unusual circumstances, 36 requests that police perform a welfare check on loved ones, up from the 70 and 18 respectively that they received during the month of October. They added that community members have uploaded nearly 500 digital media submissions to the FBI link seeking tips in the case. We understand there is a sense of fear within our community, police said. The 4 students, 3 women and a man, were found dead on November 13th in a rental house near the campus. County coroner said they were likely asleep when they were attacked. The victims were housemates Madison Mogen, 21, Xana Kernoodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Kernoodle's boyfriend Ethan Chapin. Many University of Idaho students returned to campus after a fall break, and I did watch a video with Brian Enton, interviewing some of the students around there. They said it was a little quiet. They were a little bit on edge, but they were still returning to their classes. One student said in this interview, it's been a bit confusing. It's taken everyone by surprise. Everyone is just finding ways to get through it. For me, it's going to my classes, but I think everyone is just trying to push through it. Local police and federal agents continue to follow leads, but said they have ruled out any connection to the 2 other stabbings in the Pacific Northwest. There have been numerous media inquiries about a 1999 double stabbing in Pullman, Washington, and the 2021 double stabbing with 1 death in Salem, Oregon. Moscow police said Friday in a press release, while these cases share similarities with the King Street homicides, there does not appear to be any evidence to support that the cases are related. Police warned against speculation that has stoked community fears and spread false facts. As of Friday, 113 pieces of physical evidence have been collected and sent to the Idaho State Police Crime Lab for processing and analysis. Idaho Governor Brad Little has directed up to $1 million in state emergency funds for the ongoing investigation. The University of Idaho is hosting a candlelight vigil on November 30th at 5 p.m. to honor the memory of the 4 students. One will be held on the Moscow campus and another at the University of Boise. So there's not a whole lot new there at all. I'm going to go back to the chat here because, let me see. Hi, Janae. Is there anything else? Hi, Sunkissed. Anything else that you've heard that you want to discuss or a question you want to ask? Hi, Lisa. We're going to do the Scott Peterson in just a minute. I think we're due to do that at 12:30, so we have about 8 minutes. If you have any questions or about any of these cases or whatever you want to talk about, anything, that's fine. Hi, Whisper to Me. So, yeah, I mean, that Idaho, I'm just not having any answers. I mean, maybe when they get some stuff back from the crime lab, I don't know, but it's kind of freaky. They don't have any answers, right? Oh, there's one other thing. Hold on. Just remembered something. Hold on 1 second. I wanted to do the... Hold on 1 second. We've got 2 more things to take care of. Okay, now it is reported that Shanann and Chris Watts' house has been sold. And for less than the asking price. An agent shared the news on social media, telling followers, "Huge congratulations to my buyers on their closing. It took everything we had to get here. So happy for you guys and can't wait to see the memories you make in your new home." Then said, "I'll edit to add, since it's been asked, yes, this was the Watts house. It is now the Miller home, and they cannot wait to put love, family, and laughter back into this house." The Millers also shared posts, which have since been deleted, of the front of the home, along with snaps of them gathering in the kitchen with their children. "We hope to honor you in this home you once called yours, and to fill it with smiles as you did," they wrote. "Thank you for making this a peaceful home. Peace and love are all we have felt since the moment we first walked through your door because of you. We hope to have you alongside us on this new chapter." Okay, let me see. So, I wonder why they were deleted. Were they getting a lot of, I don't know, but we'll see. Hopefully they find happiness and good memories there. They bought it for $600,000, $60K less than the asking price. So that's that. We'll see what happens with that. And then I'm going to go to the other thing I said I was saving for the end, which is, let me see. Oh, my watch is going, it's like going like a machine. We'll end with this story. Florida woman sues Kraft Heinz over time it takes to make microwavable Velveeta and cheese cups. Florida woman is suing the makers of Velveeta shells and cheese cups because the ready in 3.5 minutes claim on the box doesn't include the time it takes to open the box, add water and stir, and then add in the cheese sauce after 3.5 minutes of microwave time. The class action lawsuit was filed by a West Palm Beach-based law firm on November 18th in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. The lawsuit lists Amanda Ramirez of Hialeah as the lead plaintiff. The news report did not name the law firm. Consumers seeing ready in 3.5 minutes will believe it represents the total amount of time it takes to prepare the product, according to the lawsuit, meaning from the moment it is unopened to the moment it is ready for consumption. Apparently, learning in the time is money aphorism, the suit says Ramirez bought the cups for a premium price of $10.99, and that she looks to bold statements of value when quickly selecting groceries, like many consumers who seek to stretch their money as far as possible when buying groceries. The lawsuit, which doesn't say how much time Ramirez added to the 3.5 minutes by preparing the cups, according to the direction, asks for at least $5 million in damages from the Kraft Heinz Food Company. What? Okay. The company said in a statement it is aware of this frivolous lawsuit and will strongly defend against the allegations in the complaint. Unbelievable.
The time is from when you put the water in the damn cup, put it in the microwave, and put 3.5 minutes on the microwave.
Crazy. I mean, who the heck?
Ooh.
It's so stupid.
And the fact that a law firm even took it,
It's
Come
stupid.
Of course they're going to take it. They stand to make the most money along with the original
Probably
client.
her husband's law firm, and they're probably our brother or somebody, and they're just doing it for publicity.
All the money. It's so stupid. Holy cow, stupid
Crazy.
people.
Really crazy. Crazy. Okay. Can I get that? Hey, look at that. 12:29. I am so on time. When does my new one start? At 12:30 or 12:45? I wonder.
I don't know.
I thought it was 12:30, but maybe it's 12:45, and I'm not so on time. What is it?
12:30.
Oh, it is. So I'm perfectly on time. Okay. Wow, that's pretty amazing. That was pretty good. I'm going to redirect this so you guys can come to the next one where we'll do Scott Peterson. Haven't done that in a while, but we'll do it again. And let's see. Go to the Scott Peterson one. All right, we'll see how many of you safely make it back. See you over there, guys. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully in a few seconds.